The faint echo of her son's laughter seemed to hum from the walls. His shoes still sat by the door untouched. And on that quiet Sunday morning, something happened that shattered her fragile calm. A letter arrived, and signed, with only 5 words written across its back. He didn't die by accident. The envelope was ivory white, sealed with a wax stamp that bore no initials. When she opened it, her hands trembled. Inside was a single page, typed in crisp black font. The message read, "The truth you were told is not the truth he lived." He tried to tell them. He tried to leave a message. Look where he last sang. That cryptic note reignited every wound she thought had begun to scar. For the first time since his death, Mrs. Yu agreed to speak publicly, and what she revealed was more chilling than anyone could have imagined. Her voice was soft, weary, but carried a quiet fire. "I kept asking myself, what do they mean by where he last sang?" she told our reporter, eyes wet but focused. Menglong recorded his last song just 3 days before that night. He came home and said something strange. He said, "Mama, if one day my music disappears, I'll find a way to make it sing again." I didn't understand what he meant then. The interview took place in her living room, surrounded by framed photos of her son, smiling, vibrant, full of promise. But in the corner of the room stood a keyboard, covered with a black cloth, like a grave marker for melodies that would never be played again. On the table lay the letter, folded and refolded so many times the edges had begun to wear thin. "Sometimes at night," she continued, "I hear his song. It's faint, but it's there. I know it sounds crazy, but I believe it's him. My son's spirit hasn't rested." When Mrs. Yu handed the letter to authorities, it reportedly disappeared for 3 days before being found, again in a different envelope. The official report claimed it was a filing mistake, but insiders suggest otherwise. A retired investigator, who once worked on the original case, told the Beijing Times, "If that letter is authentic, it changes everything. It means Yu Menglong knew something. It means he was silenced." Fans online reignited the hashtag Justice for Menglong, flooding Weibo and TikTok with theories. Many pointed to the line, "Look where he last sang," as a possible reference to his final recording studio, a now-shuttered facility on the outskirts of Chaoyang District. Rumors swirled that the studio's CCTV footage from that week had been accidentally deleted after the incident. But a former sound engineer who worked there came forward anonymously. "That night, we were mixing his new song. He looked different. Nervous. He kept checking his phone. Then he told me to save a backup copy on my drive just in case something happens. I thought he meant the file could corrupt. Now I think he meant something else entirely." Days after the mother's interview, a new development set social media on fire. Fans uncovered a hidden audio layer in Menglong's unreleased demo. Audio technicians confirmed that when the file was spectrally analyzed, faint spoken words appeared beneath the melody. The distorted voice, believed to be Menglong's, whispered, "They're following me, tell her I didn't fall." The revelation sent shockwaves through his fandom and beyond. Within hours, downloads of his old songs skyrocketed as listeners searched for more hidden clues. The label denied tampering, calling it a hoax fueled by grief. Yet, even the company's statement raised eyebrows when it mysteriously disappeared from their official page within 24 hours. Mrs. Yu, when shown the analysis, wept silently. "He always used music to speak when words failed him," she said. "Now I understand this was his last message." Neighbors claim strange occurrences began happening around the Yu residence in the weeks following the letter. Lights flickering. A faint piano melody heard at midnight. A black cat appearing at the doorstep every evening before vanishing into the alley. Mrs. Yu insists she's not afraid. "He's not haunting me," she said softly. "He's protecting me. I know my son. He's trying to guide me toward the truth." A local journalist who has followed the case since day one revealed that Mrs. Yu's apartment doorbell camera once captured a blurred figure standing outside late at night, slipping what looked like another envelope beneath the door. The footage was reported to police, but never made public. "I won't let his story end this way," Mrs. Yu declared, her trembling hands tightening around the letter. "He lived with so much kindness, but there was fear, too. He wanted to tell someone. And now, if no one else will fight, I will. Her lawyer confirmed that she plans to reopen the case using new evidence, including the original forensic inconsistencies previously buried under administrative error. Social media exploded with support, with fans volunteering to crowdfund her investigation. As Mrs. Yu spoke, her eyes wandered toward her son's framed photo. "Sometimes I dream he's sitting here," she said. "He smiles and says, 'Mama, don't stop singing.' Then I wake up and the radio is on playing one of his songs." The mystery surrounding Menglong's death has long divided China's entertainment world. Once hailed as the gentle flame of modern drama, his sudden passing left questions unanswered, careers shaken, and fans clinging to theories darker than fiction. Now, with this new revelation, the silence is cracking. Online communities have begun dissecting every lyric, every line of his unreleased material. One phrase, in particular, stands out from his final composition. "When the curtain falls, I'll still be on stage." Could that line have been his way of saying goodbye or a coded message to the world? At the end of our interview, Mrs. Yu stood by the window where her son used to smoke between songwriting sessions. The sky outside was gray, heavy with drizzle. She pressed her hand to the glass, watching the reflection of his portrait behind her. "I don't know who sent that letter," she said finally, "but I believe it came from someone who loved him, or someone who was there. Maybe even from him." As she spoke, a faint melody drifted from the other room. It was his voice, playing from a music box that hadn't been wound in months. Mrs. Yu froze, tears welling up again, whispering, "You see? He's still here." The day after her televised interview, Mrs. Yu awoke to the sound of knocking. It wasn't the press or curious fans this time. It was a uniformed officer from the Chaoyang precinct. His tone was polite, but his eyes carried something colder. He held out a document stamped "Confidential." "We advise you to refrain from spreading unverified information about your son's passing," he said. "Public speculation can lead to unnecessary unrest." Unrest. The word echoed through her head long after he left. For Mrs. Yu, there had been no peace to disturb, only a silence that screamed. That evening, she sat alone at her dining table, the letter that had reignited the storm resting beneath her trembling fingers. She had tried to burn it once, she admitted. She lit a match, watched the paper catch flame, and then, impossibly, the fire died halfway down, leaving the words untouched. The edges blackened, but the message remained clear, as though refusing to be silenced. "I thought maybe it was a sign," she told a close family friend later, "that he doesn't want it gone, that someone or something wants me to keep it safe." Word of her attempted burning spread quickly online after a neighbor leaked the story to Beijing Entertainment Watch. Within hours, hashtags like #TheLetterThatWouldn'tBurn and #YouMenglongLives through music trended across Weibo. Fans shared slowed-down versions of his songs, claiming that whispered phrases appeared when played backward. The most viral one? A faint, almost pleading voice saying, "Don't let it fade." Meanwhile, reporters camped outside her apartment building. Some brought flowers, others recorders. But one man, tall, hooded, face half covered by a mask, left something different at her door. A flash drive in a plain brown envelope. No note. No name. When Mrs. Yu's lawyer, Mr. Zhang, inserted it into his laptop, the screen flickered. A short video appeared, grainy, time-stamped 2 nights before Menglong's death. It showed him in a dim recording booth, staring straight into the camera. His tone was calm but deliberate. "If you're seeing this," he said softly, "then something went wrong. Please don't believe everything they say about me. Music tells the truth. They can't erase that." The clip ended abruptly, cutting to static. Experts verified that the footage hadn't been tampered with, but its origin remained a mystery. The revelation sent shockwaves across the entertainment world. Fans demanded to know how such a video could exist if authorities had already closed the case. The studio issued a brief statement calling it a manipulated deepfake. But within hours, even that post disappeared. Mrs. Yu's apartment became a symbol, a shrine almost. Strangers mailed her candles, letters, and USBs filled with what they believed were clues. Some included blurry screenshots from security footage near the studio. Others sent cryptic notes claiming they knew the truth. One message simply read, "He tried to run that night." Inside her apartment, the walls began to feel alive with whispers. "I know it's not madness," she told a reporter from Eastern Voice News. "Sometimes the air hums, like it's vibrating with his songs. I can't explain it, but it feels like he's close." Her lawyer grew, increasingly concerned for her safety. "Every time new evidence surfaces," he said, "something happens to suppress it. Files vanish. Drives corrupt. Someone is watching." One night, Mrs. Yu found her window slightly ajar. On the sill sat another letter, identical to the first, but this one bore a different message. He didn't fall. He was pushed. She froze. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she clutched it to her chest. Outside, thunder rolled through the Beijing sky. For a moment, she swore she heard his voice carried by the wind, a faint hum, the same tune he once sang to her as a boy. The next morning, her story dominated every digital front page. Millions tuned into live streams, piecing together clues. Conspiracy channels dissected the phrase where he last sang, speculating that Menglong had hidden something in his music files. A group of cyber investigators claimed they found encrypted data embedded within his final track, titled After the Curtain. When decoded, it spelled out the words, "Tell her I saw the man in black." It was enough to reignite the investigation. Police neither confirmed nor denied reopening the case, but sources hinted at new forensic submissions. Meanwhile, fans formed an online task force, calling themselves the Lanterns, a reference to Menglong's nickname, the Gentle Light. Their mission, to uncover the truth his mother believed he left behind. As for Mrs. Yu, her health began to falter, but her resolve did not. "If this is the price of truth," she told a visiting journalist, "then I'll pay it gladly. My son didn't deserve silence." That night, something happened that blurred the line between coincidence and fate. Power outages swept across her district for 2 hours. When the lights returned, every electronic device in her home, the television, the phone, even her late son's old tablet, had frozen on a single image, Yu Menglong on stage, smiling under a beam of white light. The file name displayed at the corner read, "He still sings, MP4. For a few seconds, the speakers played a sound, a mix of static and melody, and then his voice, unmistakably gentle, whispering, "Mama, it's almost time." Neighbors claimed they saw the lights in her window flicker like candle flames. One even swore he heard piano notes echoing faintly down the hall. When reporters asked Mrs. Yu about it the next morning, she smiled faintly. "He's telling me not to give up," she said. "They can silence the world, but not a mother's heart." Her words struck the nation. For the first time since his passing, Yu Menglong's case became more than a mystery, it became a movement. Online, his fans turned grief into fuel, their voices merging into a digital choir demanding justice. And through it all, Mrs. Yu stood quietly at the center, clutching the letter that refused to burn, staring into a future where every truth once buried might finally rise to the surface. As she whispered that night, standing by her window with tears in her eyes, "The music hasn't stopped, it's just waiting for someone brave enough to listen." And somewhere, in the static between life and memory, Yu Menglong's voice seemed to answer her back.